Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel, and in this video I'll be sharing with you how to make this beautiful draped gown we have right here on the mannequin. This gown has an asymmetric yoke and it also has long sleeves, as you can see, and the drapes are by the side. And you see we have drapes on the side, and we also have this drape that falls from the waistline all the way down to the hem of the skirt. It just falls on its own, just goes all the way down to the floor length. And this is what it looks like at the back. The upper bodice has eyelets, so this will give it a bit of a snatched waistline when when you lace the back. And this is what it looks like at the down part. It has a zipper just below the eyelets, and this is a mermaid skirt. Can you see how the down part just drops? This is really easy to make and it is really beautiful. I hope this is something you are interested in learning. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. And please turn on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Please feel free to share this video, like this video, drop your comments. So without wasting time, let's get started. So these are the materials I'll be using for this project, and this is a sequence fabric. We're going to be using this sequence for the sleeves and for the yoke. This is not the stretchy kind of sequence, it's the normal sequence that is not stretchy. That's not the velvet sequence, okay? And then here I have my doll face. We'll be using this to line the upper part. We're not going to be lining the down part. So this doll face satin is for lining the upper part. And then here I have the Duchess fabric. This is going to be for the down part to achieve the mermaid and also the upper part as well. And then I also have these feathers. They call it ostrich feathers. We're going to be attaching this around the side where we have the yoke. And then I also have my bra cups, okay? So we're going to be drafting directly on our pattern paper because we're going to be using the slash and spread method to achieve this gown. So I'll set my materials aside and the measurement we'll be working with will appear on your screen. Okay, so here I have my pattern paper. We're going to be drafting our pattern on fold. So I'll have to fold this pattern paper into two. So unlike the normal way we draft, I'll draft one side. In this case, we are drafting the both sides because we are going to achieve a slash and spread. So you need to place your pattern paper on fold. And we're going to be drafting the full scale of the gown. That is a full scale basic bodice block we are drafting, and we're going to use this to get the upper part and the down part. We're going to separate the upper part from the down part later on. So here my pattern paper is on fold, and the length of the gown we are making is 65 inches. So my paper is as long as 70 inches. So it's going to be enough to give me the measurement I am looking for. And I have my pattern paper on fold. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draw the starting line. So this folded part is going to serve as the center front, and the other side will serve as the side front. So I'm going to mark my starting line from here. So this is our shoulder line. So having marked the shoulder line, the next thing I'm going to do is to get the chest line. And to get the chest line is very simple. Divide the bust measurement by 6 plus 2.5. And we're working with bust 37 divided by 6 plus 2.5. So that's 8.6. So the chest line is 8.6. So I'm going to mark 8.6 from the starting line. So next I'm going to mark the shoulder to bust point, which is shoulder to nipple point. And in this case it is 10.5. So I'll mark 10.5 here. Next, I'm going to mark the shoulder to under bust. From shoulder to under bust is 13.5. So I'll mark 13.5 here. Next, I'm going to mark the shoulder to front half length. That's to the waistline. And in this case, it is 17.5 inches. So her front half length is 17.5 inches, and I'm marking it right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the hip line, and the hip line is 26 inches. So from shoulder to hip line is 26 inches. So I'll mark it right here. Then next I'm going to mark from shoulder to knee line. The actual knee line of this client I'm making this outfit for is 42 inches. It's tall. Her knee point, her exact knee point is 42 inches. I'll be going up 3 inches above her knee point because we're making a mermaid. So 3 inches above that 42 inches, it will bring us to 39 inches. So 3 inches above her actual knee point is 39 inches. So I'm marking 39 inches right here. So this is 39 inches. So next is the full length of the gown. Her full length is 65 inches. So my tape stops at 60 inches. So I'll go ahead and add extra 5 inches. So this 5 inches ends exactly where my paper ends. Okay, you can see that. So I haven't marked out all the points. I'll go ahead and straighten it out and label all the lines so that we get it straight. So this is the chest line. And so I had to change my marker so that we can see clearly what I am doing. So the first line here I have is the shoulder line. As you can see, I've labeled it. The chest line, the bust line, the underbust, the waistline, the hip line, the knee line, and the full length. Okay, so I haven't done that. Now on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement divided by 2. So half of the shoulder measurement is 8.5. So I'm going to mark 8.5 here. And then I'm going to mark a neck width of 3 inches here on the shoulder line. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. I'll use my straight ruler to connect the 2 points. I'm connecting from the neck width to the shoulder slant, just like this. Then next I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the chest line, which is also half of the shoulder measurement. Okay, so I'll mark it here on the chest line, and I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points just this way. So now we have our armhole. So next I'll get the midpoint of the armhole line. So from the shoulders line to the chest line, now this is the armhole line. So I'll fold my tape into 2 and get the midpoint. So at this midpoint, I will go in by 3/4 of an inch. First, this is 3/4 of an inch first. Okay, so now on the chest line, I'm going to mark the bust measurement divided by 4. The bust is 37, so when you divide it by 4, it will give us 9.25. That's 9 1/4. So I'll mark it right here. And then I'm going to use my armhole curve to connect the 3 points. This point, and then to the shoulder slant. This is just the regular way we mark our armhole. If you have been watching my videos, you will understand how to do this perfectly. Okay, so now we have our armhole. So I'll also be using this pattern for both the front and back. So this is what I'm going to do. This armhole is the front armhole. So for the back armhole, still at this midpoint, I will go in by 1/2 inch. So can you see? The front I came in by 3/4. For the back I'm coming in by 1/2 inch. And I'll also connect the 3 points. This point, and then to this point. This is so that will make our work faster and also to save paper. So this is for both the front and back. So this is front armhole and this is back armhole. Now the next thing to do is to mark the bust pan measurement. The bust pan, that's the nipple to nipple, is 7 inches. Half of 7 inches is 3.5. So I'm going to mark that 3.5 here on the waistline. And you see, I'll mark it also on the bust line. And then I will mark it and stop 2 inches above the hip line. So this is 2 inches above the hip line. This is the hip line. So 2 inches above the hip line is this point. And then at this point, I'm going to mark that 3.5. So I want to get a straight line, so that's why I'm marking it this way. So can you see? So these are the points. So your waist dart stops 2 inches above your actual hip line. So this is it. So now we have our bust pan line, which is the dart line, okay? And then I'll go ahead and mark my darts. So I'm marking darts of 1/2 inch on both sides of this line. So 1/2 inch on both sides. Then from the bust line, I will come down by 1 inch. Can you see? I came down by 1 inch, and then we'll go ahead and connect the darts. So you can see, so this is our dart. Now I'm marking for the upper part, and then this is for the down part. So what our dart looks like. Take note that the dart, the upper body is stopped 1 inch below the bust point, and the down part stopped 2 inches above the hip line. Okay, so having done that, next I'm going to enter my horizontal measurement, which is the round measurement. So the bust divided by 4 is 9 1/4, so I'll mark it here. So I'll skip the under bust, I'll come down to the waistline. So the waist divided by 4, the waist measurement I'm working with is 31 inches. So 31 divided by 4, that will give us 7 3/4. So 7 3/4 here, that's 7.75. And then I'm going to replace this dart of 1 inch. So you can see I've marked back the dart of 1 inch. Then we'll come down to the hip line. The hip measurement divided by 4. The hip is 43 inches. So divided by 4 is 10 and 3/4. So I'll mark 10 and 3/4 on the hip line. Then here on the knee line, whatever we have here on the hip line determines what we'll have on the knee line. So here on the hip line, I have 10 and 3/4. I'm going to subtract 1.5 inches from it and enter it on the knee line because we're making a mermaid outfit, okay? So 10 and 3/4 minus 1.5, so that will give us 9 1/4. So that's 9 1/4. So I'll mark 9 1/4 here on the knee line. And then the full length, I'm going to open it up. So the width of my paper unfold is about 12 inches. So I'll use all of it. Remember, we're making a mermaid. I was still going to be slashing and spreading it out, okay? So I'll go ahead and connect from the knee line to the hem of the gown. Can you see? Can you see how it just opens up? And then I'll also connect from the knee to the hip line. And then I will do the same thing from the hip line to the waistline. And then I will connect to the chest line this way. So this is what our pattern now looks like. Can you see? So you can see that this, I just opened it up to my 12 inches. We're still going to have to slash it and spread to achieve the mermaid effect. So now this is it. Because our gown is supposed to have a half length, remember we have a drape that is joined at the waistline. So we need to cut open this part, okay? We need to cut open this part, and this is our front half length. Remember I said that from shoulder to front half length is 17.5. So that means we have a back half length, and I said I'm using this to achieve both the front and back. So the back half length of this client is 16 inches. Her front half length is 17.5. The back half length is 16 inches. So now the difference is 1.5. The difference between the front and the back is 1.5, and that 1.5 is our bust dart. So I'm going to mark the bust dart here. Can you see the bust line here? At the side, I will come down by that 1.5 inches, which is the difference between the front and the back. I hope you understand that. So I'll go ahead and connect it like this. I haven't come down by 1.5, I'll connect it to the bust pan. So now this is our bust dart. Okay? So at this bust dart, I'm going to come out, I'll mark the midpoint of the bust dart, and then I'll go out by 3/4 of an inch. So this is just to indicate that there's a dart here. So I'll connect it this way. And you see, so this is basically it. So for this outfit, we don't need to do any underbust tightening because we are going to create a slash and spread effect. So we don't even have business tightening the underbust. This is just basically it for our pattern. So like I said, I'll be using this one to get the back pattern as well. Okay, so now this is what I'm going to do. Here, exactly here at the half length, I'll cut open this pattern. Can you see? I'll cut it separate. So now we have the upper bodies and the down parts. So this is going to be the upper part and this is the down part. Okay, so I haven't cut it open. The next thing I'm going to do, I haven't marked my neckline yet, so I'll go ahead and mark the neckline. And I'll be using a neck depth of 3 inches. I already marked the neck width of 3 inches. So I'll be using a neck depth of same 3 inches. 3 by 3. So I'll go ahead and mark it this way. So now we have our neckline. This is for the front. Can you see? So for the back neckline, I'm going to be using a neck depth of 1.5. So from the shoulder line, I will come down by 1.5 and mark the back neck depth. Remember I said we're going to use this pattern to get both the front and back, so this will make our work easier. Can you see? So this is our back neckline. Okay, so now the next thing to do is to cut out the back neckline, the back armhole. Then I'll show us how we'll be using it to get the back. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut it out first. So this is where I'm stopping for now. So I'm going to get another fresh paper and place it to achieve the back. Okay, so for the back pattern, here I have a fresh pattern paper and I'm going to place it over like this. You can as well just use pins to pin it down, or you just tape it down just like I am doing. So you will notice that I left a space here from the center front. This is because we are going to have a zipper at the back. And this space I left here is 1.5 inches, which is supposed to serve as our zipper allowance. So let's go ahead and just mark it out. So this is our zipper allowance. So now that we have our zipper allowance, so I'll go ahead and transfer my markings. So I'm transferring the chest line. I only need the chest line at the back here. Both the front and back chest line are on the same level. So I'll transfer the chest line. You don't need to transfer the bust line. You don't need to transfer the underbust. Just transfer the waistline. But this waistline is different from the front. I hope we understand that. So for the waistline, I'll be going up by 1.5 inches, which is this bust, that difference between the front and back. So I'll come here, from the half length, I will go up by 1.5. So this is where the back half length stops. Can you see? 1.5 inches. I'll also do the same thing at this side. Because see, I have marked 1.5 here on this side, 1.5 inches upwards. This is because our back half length is shorter than the front half length. We have our breast in front, so that is why it is shorter. So these 2 points I have marked, all I need to do is to just lift up my pattern paper like this and fold exactly at this point. Can you see? Then I will go ahead and mark this point. So this is now our back waistline. Can you see? So now we have our back waistline. So this is the neckline, the back neckline. You don't need to do too much. So I can go ahead now and cut it out. So let's transfer this side as well before cutting out. So I'll be transferring just the side measurement. That's where our measurement stops, exactly at the side here, without the bust dart extension. And you see? So this is basically it. You can also transfer the armhole. So take note that what I'm doing, you can decide to draft them separately, but I feel that this is faster for me, okay? And this will also be faster for you if you know how to do it correctly. So as you can see, I have transferred my markings. So I'll go ahead and connect the points we actually need for our back. Can you see? This is what we actually need for the back. So now the next thing I'm going to do on this back is to tighten the back. So to tighten the back, you don't want the zipper to bulge. Remember, we added 1.5 inches for our zipper allowance. So I will take half of that 1.5 inches, which is going to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'll mark 3/4 inch. And then I will mark it, I'll slant it upwards this way. So now I can now extend the neckline to meet this point. Can you see? So this is it. So you will notice that I didn't mark the bust and the waist dart. Can you see? You will notice that I didn't mark the waist dart. It's deliberate. So now this is what I'm going to do. To mark the waist dart, I'm going to mark half of the bust pan measurement, which is 3.5. I'll mark it here on the waistline, and I'll also mark it here on the chest line. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. So, and then I'm going to do a dart intake of 1/2 inch on both sides, 1/2 inch on both sides. Remember that we traced out exactly what we have here in front. So this dart is already there. So all we need to do is to mark it, because the length is stopping on the chest line, unlike the front that stopped on the bust line. I hope we understand that. Let's measure this so that we don't have any confusion. Can you see? I have 8 3/4. Remember I said the waist measurement we're working with is 31 inches. So when you divide 31 by 4, that will give us 7 3/4 plus 1 inch for that. So that's 8 3/4. And that's exactly what I have here on the back. Can you see the back also? We have that 8 3/4. Okay, so that has been marked here already. So all I'm doing is to draw it out. So on the chest line here, I'll come down by 1/2 inch and then connect the waist dart. So you see? So now we have our back waist dart. So this is our back piece. So if you want to, you can go ahead and add your sewing allowance on the pattern. So it makes it easy for you, so that when you place on your fabric, you just go ahead and cut out without adding allowance. But if you don't want to add your sewing allowance on the pattern, you go ahead and add it on the main fabric. Okay? So I'll be adding mine on the main fabric. So there's really there's no too much to do about that. So whichever one that works better for you. So here I am going ahead to cut out the back pattern. So for the back, we're not doing any slash and spread. So you can see I cut just one piece. So this one piece, we'll be using it to achieve both the left and the right of the back. So there's no need cutting this one on fold. So I'm taking out the zipper bulge. So this is back. So this is our back pattern. So I'll set this aside, and this is our front pattern now. So now let's go ahead and cut the front neckline. Cut the front armhole too. Okay, so now because we are going to be doing a slash and spread, we need to transfer our markings to the other side, and we're going to be slashing and spreading towards the right hand side. So I'll also be needing my tracing wheel to transfer the markings. So I'll be transferring the chest line, which I have already done when I was transferring the back. I'll transfer the bust line. I'll equally transfer the bust dart. And then I'll go ahead and also transfer this underbust line. But like I said, we're not working with the underbust. So we already have the waistline. That's where we cut our pattern. So I'll transfer the darts. So transfer the dart legs this way. And then transfer the side markings, which we have already done when we're transferring to the back. So this is it. So you will not be able to see my markings, but I can see it clearly because it has created dots. So all I need to do is to transfer to this side. So I'll go ahead and do that right away. Okay, so now we have our front pattern. As you can see, I've transferred all my markings. So now the first thing we're going to do is to create the yoke. We have an asymmetric neckline on this gown, and that's what we're going to be creating right now. And the asymmetric shape went to the right hand side. This is right and this is left. So on this right hand side, I'm going to come down from the shoulder slant by 6.5 inches. Can you see? So I'm marking 6.5, which is this point. So I'll go ahead and connect from this side to this side. I'm going to do this. So from this side of the shoulder here, I'm coming inwards by 1.5. So this is 1.5. So from here, let's just place it this way. And then I will mark it this way. Can you see? So this is it. So ignore this other line. This is the line I'm working with. So this is our yoke. So this is going to serve as the yoke, okay? So I'll be cutting out this shape. Having cut out the yoke, so the next thing we're going to do is to create our slash and spread, and we want everything to go to the right hand side. So to be able to achieve that, first we're going to have to close our darts and then transfer the darts to this side and create the slash and spread. So now this is our bust dart and this is the waist dart. So the first thing I'm going to do is to close the waist dart. So to close a dart, you have to open another, okay? So now this is it. We want to close the waist dart, so we'll need to open up the bust dart. So we can go ahead, let's just go ahead and cut this first. Let's cut out the excess. Can you see? So, like I said, I want to close my waist dart, so we'll need to open the bust dart. So to open the bust dart, this is it. So you can as well go ahead and cut it out like I am doing. So now you can see, this is our bust dart, and I've cut it out. So now we want to close the waist dart. So to close this waist dart, this is it now. I'm cutting through the line, and then we want to close the waist dart. Can you see? So I'll place it this way. We want to make sure that they overlap on each other like this. So this way, what I have done now has transferred my waist dart to the bust. Remember that the bust dart was 1.5 inches. So now by closing this waist dart, which is 1 inch, I'm going to have 2.5 inches here. Can you see? It's already 2.5 inches. So you can either close it this way, or you cut the dart out, just like I did for the bust dart. Just cut it out like this. Can you see? I've cut it out. So then I'll tape it together. So this way I have closed my waist dart. Our waist dart is properly closed and transferred to the side here. So here I have 2.5. So if it is not up to that 2.5, it means that there's still a remainder around here. Okay, so now having done that, I'm also going to do the same thing on this side. So I've said it that before you close a dart, you have to open another one for you to be able to transfer it, right? So now I'm going to open the bust dart. By opening it, I'm just going to cut it out like this. So here, I'll cut it out, and then I'll also cut the waist dart out. So you can see I cut the waist dart out. So I'm going to close the waist dart. Can you see? Because we want to achieve that slash and spread towards the right. And you see now I'm closing my dart. So that 1 inch that I had here will transfer itself to this side. Okay, so this is me. I have successfully transferred the waist dart to the bust. So here, can you see? So now at this point I have 2.5 inches. You can see. So everything has been transferred to this point. So let me close it up well. So here I have my 2.5 inches. Okay, so now this is it. So now we want to create the slash and spread. Remember, I'm slashing towards the right hand side, and this is right. So let's label this R, and this is left. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to cut my lines. I'm going to draw my slash lines. So now let's go ahead and draw the lines. There is no particular pattern. Just do what you feel like doing, okay? I'm just going to draw lines like this. So here, I'm going to mark another line this way. So there's no particular order for it, okay? So just watch carefully what I'm doing. So now I'm going to cut this bust line open. That's the first slash line. So I'll cut it open this way. So by cutting it open this way, so this bust dart now, can you see I have closed everything? So what I have here has transferred itself completely to this side. That 2.5 inches I have here has transferred here. So now I have 5 inches. All the darts have come to this side. Okay? So I'll go ahead and tape it down. So can you see? So now we now have our actual length. Now you can see that the side back and the side front are matching up. Because the difference, which is 1.5, everything has been taken away. So can you see the back? Since these are back half length, can you see from the angle to this point? You can see now they are equal. So you are sure that they will match up. I hope we are following. Okay? So then next, I'm going to cut these slash lines that I have marked. So like I said, there's no particular order. So it's at your discretion to decide how you want it. Okay? But don't open up this side. Can you see? I didn't cut through. I left about half of an inch at that side. So I'm also going to cut this one through. So make sure that you leave about half of an inch towards the end. You don't want to slash that side. You want to maintain your measurement at this side. Can you see? So this is it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is fine. I'm not going to cut this last one. That last one is small. So this is just okay. So let's take this part of our dart that is opening. Can you see? So this is what our pattern now looks like. You see, this is how we're going to slash it and spread it out. Okay? So now I'll keep this aside so that we can treat the down part. But before we treat the down part, you can see I have a bit of an excess here. So after closing the bust dart, you can see that everything has aligned. So I'm just going to make sure to blend up my markings here so that I don't have any excess. Remember, I've not added sewing allowance, so you can see that I've taken care of that part. So I'll also cut out all the excesses I have here. Remember, there's this 3/4 of an inch we came out after our dart. So I'm just trying to maintain my measurement so that everything we're adding will be on the fabric that we're adding allowances, so that we don't have unnecessary excesses. I hope you understand that. Okay, so this is what we have for our front. So I'm going to set this aside so that we can treat the down part. Now we have done the front yoke, we have done the back, we have also done the front upper front piece. So let's treat the down part.